Hi friends, I'm Tasha. I hope you all are in great spirit and health as we persevere through this pandemic. It's really an interesting time right now that we are in the middle of a pandemic. I would have never imagined that I would be experiencing a pandemic during my lifetime, and many of you as well. So I wanted to talk with you about two components of this pandemic, a spiritual component and a mental health component. So, as far as spiritually, it's an opportunity for you and I to really connect with God, to really get to know God and be vulnerable with Him, and to allow ourselves to really focus on Him and really, just really give ourselves to Him and receive Him as well. So it's an opportunity for us to reflect, for us to focus on some things that we need to filter out of our lives, as well as some things that we can incorporate in our lives. And I like to start my day off in worship. Sometimes it doesn't go as planned or as I'd like it to. And, I start my day and then I remember, hey, you know what? On my way to work, let me go ahead and worship. Let me talk with God. Let me go back now. When I open these eyes, now I do pray and thank God for allowing me to see the beautiful day that He's created. But on a much deeper note, when I'm in my car driving to work, I realize, you know what, let me talk with God, let me praise God, let me really spend some time with God. So I may listen to my music, I may think, I may, just need some silence where I just want to talk with God and allow myself to hear God talk with me. So that's what I mean by starting our day with worship. Just taking that moment, taking that time to really get intimate with God. And many of us don't have the privilege of having a prayer closet where we can go and be one with God because the house is so busy. But that's an opportunity where we can create, we can go for a walk and really be alone with God and talk with God and really pour our heart out to God. It's something that we can do. We're in a restroom or in the shower. It's just some time that we know that it's just us and God, where we can really let go and be ourselves. So it's an opportunity that we can create ourselves and just get really, really creative with it. And it's something that God wants us to do. He wants us to connect with Him. He wants us to really, really get intimate with Him so that we can see how loving He is, how gracious He is, just how much He loves us. He want to pour out His love to us, and He wants us to receive that love. Let's just get to know Him. Let's study His Word. Let's study His Word to see what His Word says about Him. Let's do that. I think that's a great start for us to really know who God is, just by reading His Word and seeing what His Word says about Him. For those of us that don't know how to develop that relationship with God, that's a great way to start. What does His Word say about Him? And just talk. Talk to Him. If you can't be verbal or don't know how to be verbal because you think you have to be like so etiquette in prayer, which you don't have to do that. You can just write Him a letter. Just write a letter that expresses yourself, express how you feel, express what's in your heart. And if you can't do that either, let the tears fall. He can interpret those tears because it's not what we write on paper that He understands or that means the most or highlight the most of anything. Is what's in our heart, is what our heart desires to say, that we don't have the words to articulate. It's what's here. And that's the thing that we need to understand, is that when we're communicating with God, like He know what our heart wants to say. Because myself included, when we're first learning to pray, it's not going to come out right for most of us. For some of us, it's going to come out, but we might start rambling, or we might just start saying some stuff, but He understands what we want to say. He understands what we're trying to say. And the more we spend time with God, the more we'll build that bond, and the more we'll know what to say, because we'll feel that drawing to Him. We'll feel drawn, like, okay, God, I feel it in my spirit that I need to say this. So that's one thing I wanted to talk about as far as the spiritual component, is getting to know God for who He is. Understanding God, allowing God to be there for you, allowing God to communicate with you, learning how God communicates, learning the ways that God communicate, whether it's audio, whether it's nonverbal, it's things that happen in your life, whether it's a dream. How do you communicate with God, or how does God communicate with you? So that's something that you can learn by spending time with God, is learning to recognize his voice and learning how he communicate with you best. And some other things is just listening to inspirational songs that we just feel in our spirit. It just resonates in our spirit, that we know that this is the Spirit of God that I'm feeling. So that's another thing that we can do, is to listen to the inspirational songs. We can read his word, study his word. We can write him a letter. We can write him a love letter. We can write him a letter saying thank you. We could write him a letter saying, Lord, please forgive me. We could write him a letter with tears. Blank piece of paper, just tears. Just establish that communication with him. He know what the heart wants to say. So I think that's important for us to know. And it's something that we don't kind of misunderstand God and think that, oh, we're unworthy to go to God. No, you're worthy. Go to him. Don't allow that self-talk, that doubt, those negative words to get in your way of connecting with God. He's waiting for you. Another thing that I want to talk about is the mental component of this pandemic. How has this affected us mentally? Surely it has triggered some things that have been lying dormant in us, and the thoughts that we have may surprise ourselves. The feelings that we have may surprise us, where we thought wow, I'm getting back to the old me, when it's taken so much for us to really grow and evolve as a person. So you want to make sure that you notice your thoughts, that you're paying attention to what you're thinking, and not necessarily to judge your thoughts and just be upset with yourself for thinking those thoughts, but just really paying attention to your thoughts, and really getting to the root of, okay, why am I thinking this? Have I gone off on the deep end? What's going on here? So it's noticing your thoughts, paying attention to your thoughts, and if you feel like you need help, professional help, because of the thoughts that you're thinking, then I do encourage you to get help for that. And getting help is as simple as calling 911, saying I want to speak with someone in your crisis unit, or Googling a therapist or someone in your area that you can speak to and get professional help with. That's important, because I want you to notice your body. I want you to notice your thoughts. I want you to notice your family members' changes and see what's going on with them, because this is new territory for all of us, and we want to make sure that we're checking in with ourselves and we're checking in with our loved ones to make sure that everyone is okay, because not everyone is okay. Many of us have lost loved ones, we've lost income, we've lost relationships. So you want to make sure that you look past the smile on someone's face and say, hey, how are you really doing? And we want to make sure that we're welcoming, we're warm, and that we're not passing judgment on the person, or we're not mocking the person for their circumstances, because all of us are just, one blink away from being in that person's shoes. So we want to make sure that we express empathy and compassion for the people that have lost loved ones or jobs or income or relationships during this time. And so another thing that I wanted to say is that sometimes crises can trigger our anxiety. It can trigger our depressive moments where we are feeling hopeless, or we're feeling edgy and fidgety, and we just can't sit still. We don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. We barely getting through today. So I want y'all to check in with your thoughts, check in with how things are going, and like I said, get the help that you need and reach out to professionals. And I want to start a group, a support group with women and men that are interested, that that may want help but they don't know where to turn for help. And this group could just be for us to kind of talk. It can be like a Facebook group or something like that, where we just talk to each other. No one's the expert. No one is in charge. It's just that we're all sharing our experiences and we're being there for one another, and providing that support. And if that's something that you're interested in, just inbox me, private message me. So it's something that, it's a private group. No one has to know that we're in this group discussing these things unless you share it. So it's something that I would like to do, just share my experience and listen to your experience of how we're getting through this, how our families are doing through this. So I think that it's important for us to practice that community, the community that the Bible tells us that we should have. That community, it is what's keeping us together as a family, as friends, as neighbors. It's something that we should continue to do, is to be open with each other as far as our feelings when we're in this group, and let people know that we're there for them. We may not be able to provide the support that they need in regards to financially, but we can give them a listening ear. We can be that sounding board for someone to know that, hey, you know what, I'm looking forward to this group at 7 o'clock today, because I know that I'm going to have someone there that understands me, someone that gets me, somewhere that I can be myself. So like I said, that's something that I'm interested in doing, and I hope that some of you are interested in it as well. It's just a group of people talking. That's all it is. So just sharing our experiences. So I'm gonna end the video, but like I said, I just wanted to just talk about the spiritual component of the pandemic, the mental component of the pandemic, some things that we can do together as neighbors, as Facebook friends, as YouTube friends, something that we can do to really support each other during this time, and ways that we can uplift each other. So I hope that you all continue to enjoy your evening, and I'll talk with you later. Bye-bye.